Happening now, closure more than 2 decades in the making. 18-year-old Aaron Foster and 17-year-old Jeremy Betchel disappeared on April 3rd, year 2000.
21 years ago, two teenagers vanished into thin air after leaving a party. Their families kept searching. Their friends never gave up hope, but the trail went cold until now. One man with underwater cameras decided to check the calf killer. What he found 13 feet below shocked the entire town, solving one of Tennessee's biggest mysteries.
I'm lost. I'm lost for words. I'm so glad I could find him. I'm so sad that that's where they ended up.
But here's the thing. Why did it take more than 20 years to find them? And what happened that night back in 2000? Join us as we uncover the mystery of Aaron Foster and Jeremy Betchel disappearance. 21-year mystery haunts a town.
It's been 21 heart-wrenching years. An 18-year-old girl and her 17-year-old friend vanish without a trace.
The truth had been right there the whole time, just hidden in plain sight for over 20 years. In the small town of Sparta, Tennessee, two names kept coming up anytime someone talked about local mysteries: Aaron Foster and Jeremy Betchel. They were just teenagers when they vanished on April 3rd, 2000, and since then, their families have been searching, hoping. The community never gave up on them. Now, fast forward 2 decades, and we meet Jeremy Wade. He's known for solving impossible underwater cases. He's standing by the edge of the Calf Killer River with something to get off his chest. Turns out, in a previous video, he made a mistake, a big one. He said Aaron and Jeremy were last seen in a 1998 Pontiac Grand Am. But that wasn't right. The car they were actually in was a black 1988 Pontiac Grand Am with the same license plate he'd been following all along. At first, it might sound like a small error, but in cold cases, details like that can totally change the outcome. One wrong piece of info can throw everything off. The shape of the car, how it looks on sonar, how it moves through the water, it all matters. The 88 model is lower to the ground than the 98 one. Its shape gives off a different reading when you scan underwater, and that difference could be the reason someone missed it during a search. Now, Wade has his search narrowed down to 3 final places. The first is Cane Hollow. The second spot was the 3 Island boat ramp. It's tucked away at the end of a long road, and some think the teens might have driven out there to talk or just get away. But if something went wrong by the water, things could have gone bad. Fast. Then there's the third place, and the most chilling: Calf Killer River. It runs right next to the main road through Sparta. Cars drive past it every day, probably without thinking twice. But 21 years ago, that road didn't have the guardrails it has now. One wrong move, like hitting ice, getting distracted, or something going wrong with the car, and it's easy to see how someone could end up in the river. Once that car went under, it would have been gone in seconds. No tire marks and no debris. Wade knows this isn't just another search. It's not about solving a puzzle or checking off a box. Aaron was 18. Jeremy was 17. They were just starting out, with their whole lives ahead of them. Their families have been stuck in this painful in-between space for over 2 decades, not knowing, not having closure. And in Sparta, no one ever forgot them. Their story became part of the town. Parents would bring it up to warn their kids. Every time someone found an abandoned car, people would wonder if it was theirs. Every new piece of tech gave people a little more hope that maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. Wade gets ready to drop his sonar equipment into those waters. He hoped to spot the outline of a 1988 Pontiac Grand Am, one that's been sitting quietly in the depths for more than 20 years. Wade fires up his sonar gear and heads to the first spot. But almost immediately, something shows up and throws the whole search off. Could this be over before it even really starts? 2 strikes and running out of hope. The morning sun bounces off the still water at Cane Hollow as Wade eases his boat into position. This spot has been a go-to hangout for local teens for years. Quiet, out of the way, and far from watchful parents. It's the kind of place where memories are made and, sometimes, where things go wrong. If Aaron Foster and Jeremy Bechtel ended up here that night, the narrow, winding dirt roads leading back to town could have been dangerous, even for experienced drivers. Wade gets to work, scanning the lake bed with his sonar. The gear does its thing, sweeping the area in a grid, turning the murky water into detailed images on his screen. He takes it slow, making sure no patch of the bottom goes unchecked. Then, something shows up. A big metal object, clear as day on the screen. It looks like a car. Wade's heart starts racing. Could this finally be it? The moment everyone's been waiting for? But no, his excitement fades fast. The local sheriff had already told him about this car. Turns out, it's a Mercedes that went into the water just a few months ago. It belongs to a completely different case, a different kind of heartbreak. And while every car found underwater deserves attention, this one doesn't bring him any closer to finding Aaron and Jeremy. So, that's one location down. And even though it's a dead end, it still hits hard. These kinds of cases carry so much emotion. Every lead feels like a lifeline to the families waiting for answers. And every letdown just adds to the weight they've been carrying for over 20 years. Wade packs up and heads to the next spot, the Three Island Boat Ramp. It's at the very end of Three Island Road, where the road stops and the water begins. Like Cane Hollow, it is another quiet, tucked-away area where teens might go for some privacy. But with uneven ground and pitch-black nights, it's not hard to imagine how things could go wrong fast. The lake bed there is tricky. There's soft mud, random piles of junk, and just enough weirdness to make the sonar readings a little harder to read. But Wade gets to work anyway, scanning the area piece by piece. Hours go by. The sonar lights up with schools of baitfish swimming in thick clouds. It's a good sign for fishing, but not for this kind of search. They clutter up the screen, making it harder to spot anything man-made. Still, Wade pushes on. Under all the fish activity, the lake floor stays pretty clear, just sand, mud, and a few big rocks. In a place like this, if a car had been sitting down there for 21 years, it would stand out immediately. But there's nothing. No car. No sign of Aaron or Jeremy. Just another quiet lake bottom. That's 2 spots checked. 2 more letdowns. And now, the pressure is real. Wade's down to his last lead. If there's still hope of finding Aaron and Jeremy, it was riding on this last place. The 3rd spot on Wade's list has a name that already feels kind of eerie, Calf Killer River. It sounds like something straight out of a ghost story. But could this be the place that finally gives some answers? Or is it just another dead end hiding in plain sight? The sonar hit. The Calf Killer River runs right through Sparta, just a few steps from the busy road that people drive every day. It kind of looks peaceful on the surface, like just another quiet stretch of water. But that name, Calf Killer, feels heavy. It didn't come from anything tragic, though. Early settlers used to hunt young cattle near the banks, and somehow the name stuck. Still, around there, with everything that's happened, it feels a little more ominous. Wade steered his boat into the river, and right away he could tell this spot was different. The water isn't still like at the other places. It's moving, constantly, carrying bits of dirt, debris, and whatever else downstream. The trees hang over the banks, letting little patches of sunlight flicker across the water. It's beautiful, but also kind of eerie. Now here's where it gets interesting. Highway 70 runs right alongside the river for a good stretch. Back in 2000, the only thing between the road and the river might have been a thin patch of land, and maybe a guardrail. If someone was driving late at night, bad weather or a quick distraction could have made that line disappear real fast. Wade gets to work, setting up the sonar. This part's tricky. The current messes with the sonar readings, and the bottom of the river is a mix of mud, rocks, and fallen branches. It's a tough read, but Wade knows what he's doing, and little by little, the sonar starts to build a picture. Then something weird shows up on the screen. Inside the natural shapes of logs, rocks, and shadows, there's one thing that doesn't belong. It's too straight, too smooth. Wade freezes. He knows what he's looking at. That shape is a car, no question. He keeps scanning, getting clearer images. The more he looks, the more it lines up. It's a sedan. The size, the shape, it's exactly what he's been searching for. A 1988 Pontiac Grand Am. His pulse was steady, but his mind was racing. After 2 frustrating dead ends, it finally felt real. The sonar shows the car sitting upright on the riverbed, untouched, like it's just been sitting there, waiting to be found. From the looks of it, the car could have come straight off the road, crossed that narrow strip of land, and plunged into the river with enough speed to land exactly where it is now. Wade drops a GPS pin and throws out a bright orange buoy to mark the spot. From above, it's just a tiny float on the surface. But below was the moment everything changed. This part's not just about sonar or GPS anymore. If this was the car Aaron Foster and Jeremy Bechtel were in that night, then Wade might be giving 2 families the answers they've been waiting for. For 21 years, he geared up to dive, knowing what was at stake. Either this is the moment that finally solves a decades-old mystery, or it's another heartbreaking turn in a search that's already seen too many. The river's been quiet for a long time. 13 feet down, the answer's just sitting there and waiting. What's down there? Is it the truth everyone's been searching for? The devastating discovery. Wade took one last moment to check his diving gear before slipping into the cold waters of the Calf-Killer River. Even with his dry suit on, that 46-degree water hits hard. A quick reminder of just how harsh and unforgiving this environment is. The current pulls at him as he sinks, dragging years of silt and debris along with it. All of it built up over 2 decades of steady flow. By the time he reaches the bottom, visibility is almost nothing. We're talking just a few inches in front of his face. It's less of a dive now and more of a feel-your-way-around kind of thing. So Wade relies on his hands, feeling through the thick, dark water until they brush against something that doesn't belong. A metal. Cold, smooth, man-made metal. A car. Wade moves along it slowly, tracing the shape with his fingers. The car's sitting upright down there, pretty much untouched by the current after all this time. The windows are still shut, which usually means it went in fast. Too fast for anyone to react or try to get out. His diving light cuts through the murk just enough to spot little details that match what the sonar had picked up. The shape, the size, even that familiar curve of the rear window. It all lines up with a late 80s Pontiac Grand Am. Exactly the kind of car Aaron Foster and Jeremy Bechtel were driving the night they vanished. But Wade needs more than just a strong hunch. He moves around to the back of the car, looking for the one thing that'll confirm it. His light finds the license plate. 473EJR. That's it. That's the plate listed in the missing persons report from 21 years ago. That was the car. The one Aaron and Jeremy were in when they disappeared. Wade breaks the surface with that weight heavy on his mind. As the bubbles from his gear rise, so does the reality of what he's just found. This is the moment that two families have been hoping for and dreading for over 20 years. Hoping for answers. Dreading the worst. What started as a missing persons case just became real in a way that's hard to put into words. Aaron and Jeremy had been just yards from the road all this time, hidden in a river that runs right through the middle of town. A river that countless people cross every day without ever knowing what lies beneath the surface. Wade reached for his phone. His hands still shook a little from the cold, but he knew what that call meant. He dialed Sheriff Pig, the guy who's been part of this search from the start. They had worked closely on the case, pushing past dead ends and false leads. Now, finally, they had something solid. The call was short, but heavy. Wade tells him what he found. The sheriff listens, takes a breath, and then the gears start turning. After 21 years, the search was finally over. But the answers that came with this discovery didn't bring relief. They brought heartbreak. Aaron and Jeremy didn't run away. They didn't start over somewhere else. They were there all along, waiting to be found. And now, they're finally coming home. Sheriff Pig shows up at the riverbank just minutes later, but after 20 years of not knowing, can the community start to heal? Or are there still some questions that'll never be answered? After 21 years, they're finally coming home. And now, with the car located, it's time to move carefully. Recovery crews start rolling in, bringing all the specialized tools and equipment they'll need. It's not just cranes and winches. That kind of operation takes coordination between divers, law enforcement, and recovery teams who know how to handle sensitive scenes like this. They didn't rush. They didn't treat it like a routine tow job. They knew what was at stake. It wasn't just about pulling a car from a riverbed. It's about doing it the right way, respectfully, cautiously, and with the families in mind every step of the way. The vehicle might be sitting 13 feet below the surface, but for the people watching from the shore, it feels like a lifetime away. That car held the last known moments of two teenagers' lives. It was a time capsule, and for Aaron and Jeremy's loved ones, that spot had become something close to sacred. Divers head back into the water to attach the lifting cables. Heavy machinery hums into place along the shore. Everything was done slowly, step by step, making sure no detail was missed. And then, little by little, the car starts to rise. That part was tough to watch. Water spills from the windows and doors. Bits of debris slide off the frame. One could see the damage from years underwater, faded paint and rusted metal, but the shape was still there. As the car broke the surface, people started to gather nearby. They kept a respectful distance, but word was spreading fast. In a small town like Sparta, everyone remembers. Aaron and Jeremy weren't just names on flyers. They were classmates, neighbors, and friends. This case left a mark on the whole community. The recovery didn't just close a file. It brought closure to people who've been living in limbo for 21 years. It proved the value of bringing in new tech, new methods like Wade's sonar work, when the old ways hit a dead end. For Sheriff Pig, it was personal. He carried this case for most of his career. For Wade, it was validation that his efforts really can bring families answers. And for Aaron and Jeremy's loved ones, it was the moment they'd been waiting for, even if it was not the one they hoped for. After all these years, the two teenagers who disappeared on that spring night were finally coming home. How many other families are still waiting for answers that might be just beneath the surface? What would you want someone like Jeremy to do if your loved one never came home? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.